So, Servus, back again. This is the weekly recap video. I will go through everything today. I also will add timestamps, so if you're only interested in a few things, you can just click on them. I didn't change the charts, but on every chart where we have a bearish alternative, I just made a complete separate chart. So from now on we will have a bullish chart completely shown and then a bearish chart completely shown. So we don't have to mess with drawings all the time, and it should go quicker too. So for the method I'm using, it's this Fractal method for all my charts. It doesn't matter what news are coming out, the illusion split, blah blah blah. It's always this. So we're always coming from our VNA. After that, we're doing high low. Then we're doing the A peak with the A pullback. The pullback of this A pullback can be just a breakout retest or a 0.5. Then you go to your B peak. Here the same, most of the time, a 0.5. Then you go to your C. Then you do lower high. Midpoint, you can draw from the bottom of B a trend line to a midpoint where you most of the time bounce, fall under it, reject, and then one last time reject. Then you fall to your T, last time to sell point, and then you fall to your VNA, and then you're doing the whole thing again. Okay, let's jump into the charts. BYND. So we had a nice run last week. So I started showing it when it was around here, I think 50-60 cents. That's also the point where I bought. Just to say that, no financial advice, but I have still a few calls left, but most of my position I closed, I think, somewhere in this range here. I still have a bullish version, but yeah, let's look. So for the bullish chart right now, just for the complete overview, our all-time high is our C. Then we fall to our lower high. Then we fall to our midpoint. Then we fall to the last time to sell. And then, of course, to our all-time low, which is V under A, but this would be V under invisible A, because IPO started kinda near our C point. So what have we done till then? Therefore we go on the 1 hour. So we already did our A peak, which went a little bit higher than our T line, but it's always like, it doesn't have to be on the line, it can be a little bit over it, a little bit under it. So for the bullish version, we are in the A pullback right now, and if the A pullback is finished, then our next target would be our M line for our B, which should be around $43. Again, it can be higher on the point or a little bit lower. Then wherever our A peak, A pullback was, so let's say our A pullback is where we are right now, we take our 0.5 pip retracement, and if we say, for example, that our B peak is at 33, then our B pullback would be the 0.5, around $9. We would bounce there, and then we would go to C. And then the only question is, are we doing a higher high, so breaking all-time highs, or are we rejecting and making a lower peak and most likely. So I have two versions for the bullish part. For that we go into the little tracking, where here's our V. This would be our high low. This little thing here would be our little A, with the A pullback. Somewhere in here would be our B. It's not really nice showing itself here. I would imagine it's this, but it was a very strong trend test. And this would be our little C. And at the same time our big A. So after that we made a lower high. Then we fall under the trend line. So this trend line, I mean this trend line here, which is, I think 5 years old. Yeah, 5 years old. My first pullback line was this trend line just for a break or retest. Now we know this failed. Absolutely. So we fell from our lower high to our midpoint. And now two ways. First, you could say this was your lower high, this is your midpoint, and this here was our last time to sell. For this, I would say we are at the point where we bounce right now, because this line here is from all-time low to our A peak, the 0.5. And let's see what happens Monday, but it could look that we are already in the bounce. So that would mean we are already in the bounce, making most likely a high low, and then we go. Confirmation for this for me would be breaking 374, and then you go. For the alternative, for the bullish alternative, which in my opinion looks better, this was your M. You will still bounce here, come up again, some kind of 243 or something in this range. You will reject here, and you will really go down to your V under A, which is at 83.80 cents. You bounce here, make your higher low, and break out. And then in that case, I would say the confirmation for this would be breaking 2.36 for bullish. What I don't really want to see is breaking under 73, because I think then this is just over. No financial advice, but right now I would say this is a waiting game. Wait for a bounce if it's here or here. Wait for the higher low and then the bounce. The play was clearly getting in here, getting out in this range, maybe go into put. But right now, we already fall so much. But at the same time, you could also say, when everyone is talking about it's over, it's sometimes the best time to get in. So for the bearish alternative chart, yeah. Sorry, it is a little joke, but for the bearish alternative chart, the display is just that, and it was a dump and bomb. Okay. Next one is Neo. So for Neo, it looks way better. So the bullish chart for Neo. So for explanation, the IPO for Neo started at an M. Just because of the levels, because you have here the perfect B and the perfect A. So for this, you have an invisible lower high and an invisible C peak, and of course an invisible ABC before that. So we starting from our IPO from our M, fall down to our T, and then to our V under invisible A. Just for the overview, for the complete overview, this would be the first fractal completed. This would be our macro massive A. Then you're starting the second one, which is ending in a higher low and not under B and A. That's why this is our big massive B, because only B is allowed to make a higher low, which would be also finished. And our next one would be our big massive C. So the first one is finished. Then we're doing the higher low, A, with A pullback, B, C, then lower high, midpoint T, and then ending with a V in a higher low. And from there, we did our higher low and already our A peak. And we would be in the A pullback. For the bullish version, this A pullback is finished on the 0.5, and we would be already in the bounce, and our next target would be B, around $16. For confirmation, just break $8 and we go to A. So the bullish version looks good. I'm tending more to the bearish version, but again, it's not really a bearish version. So for the bearish version, not much is changing. It would be the same chart with only one difference. Only difference is that the pullback of A is not finished right now. For that case, our A peak is in, of course. Our little C peak is also in. We already did our lower high. We already did our midpoint. And in my opinion, right now we will fall off, come up again, do our T peak, and then we go to V under A. And V under A would be around 4.36. You bounce here, it would be also the breakout retest of this trend line here. This multi-year trend is also 5 years. And you bounce here, make a high low, and then you go to B. And no financial advice, but if you're doing this here in this range, it's the perfect buy for the next B run. I'm tending more to this, but if we bounce, I'm wrong. But let's see what this stock is doing. So next one is Plug. So for the bullish version of Plug, you have this here. So for the overview again, you come from your C, lower high, midpoint T, and you drop again to your V under A, which is also again invisible because the IPO started kind of a C, so your ABC is here hidden, and the first one is finished. After that, the big one, this big is your higher low. Why isn't that AB or higher, low, and A? Just because we are lower than this point here. So it can't be B because this can't be A because B isn't lower than A. Can't be higher, low, and A because A isn't lower than higher, low. So this whole thing is your higher, low, which is also already finished. And your next point would be, we would be right now in the run to big A, which should be higher than 71-ish. So what have we done in the last days and weeks? We came from our little C to our perfect V and A. We already did our little A with the pullback, and for the bullish version, we already did our little B peak. And for the bullish version, again 2 ways. We would already be in the bounce or close to the bounce. For being in the bounce, we're taking the 0.5 from the low of A to the B peak, and this is this without log, because I'm looking all my charts with log, because if you put that without log, you can't just track it because it's way too bad to look at. So with log, you can track it, but there's an option for the FIB where you have the option with log or without log. So for the bullish version, bullish version, the 0.5 with log is in, and we bounce here. We're breaking 470. Go to our big A, which would be also our small C. Reject here, making a little pullback, most likely a breakout retest on this trend line. And our next target would be B at $31. For the alternative, for the bullish alternative, we are still looking for the FIB MILF log, which is this at $2. And you would come down here, bounce, and then you do the same. What I don't want to see is breaking under $1.39, because then the bearish alternative comes in place. For the overall tracking, it's not really changing much. So here would be the bearish one. It's not really changing much. You still have the same high, low, big A. B price target isn't changing. Only the A price target would change. And we would be in T right now, which I'm also tending more to this, but on this one I'm 50-50. But for the bearish alternative, this peak, what we did right now, would be T, and you would fall down. This V under A and this higher low here from the bullish chart would be wrong, and you would still look for a new V under A, which isn't changing that this whole thing would be higher low, but the higher low would be ending here, and then you would start to your A peak. And in my opinion, for this to be true, your new low has to be somewhere in this range. It has to be higher than somewhere in this range. it has to be higher than 15 cents. I know, it's crazy. If we fall again from $4 to, let's say, 40 cents. But if we are falling, this would be your alternative. And again, if we are doing this here, no financial advice, is your perfect zone for a buy-in for the next one. Your A peak would be around $4, and your B peak would be around $31. And again, you're doing your V and A, your high low, then you go up to your A. Here you get the A pullback. You're coming up to your B, then you do your 0.5 pullback, and then to your C. Time-wise, I would expect, if you're doing this till end of the year and early next year, we're getting the bull run. Okay. Next one is FCEL. I think for FCEL, I only have a bullish chart right now. So FCEL, this is our bullish chart. So for the overview, you're coming from your C, lower high, midpoint, come down, come up again to your T, and then you fall to your V and the A, and you would already be in your higher low. For price targets, normally your M point is your B and your T point is your A. Just saying, without a split, in my opinion, I'm 99.9999% sure you won't get this price target. So don't wait for $19,000 a share. Won't happen. With a split, okay. But even if you have shares and options, then this split will most likely fuck you over. For a listed price target, if we go in the daily, I would look for our A is most likely in already, lower than your T line, but your B should be around 165. Then pullback, and then is only the question, are we rejecting at 800 or are we breaking through? But if we break through, is somewhere in this range where a split will happen. Just saying. Okay, so what have we done in the last weeks and days? We came from our T. In here is our lowest point, the V and A. Here is the V and A. And this whole thing would be our higher low, our big higher low. And we would already did our A peak and would be in the A pullback right now. So for this, also two bullish ways. The first one, you already did your T peak, in my opinion. Yeah, you come from your little C, which is our big A, the lower high, midpoint, and your T peak. And right now, you fall down, you bounce on the 0.5 and make your breakout. Confirmation is still for the run to be at 1241. Or you're doing the full V and A, and the full V and A is under 616, and then you're doing the same with bounce, higher low, and then you go up. What I don't want to see is a break of $5, because then I really have to look for an alternative for a bearish chart. But right now, looks still good. in my opinion, we are near the end for the next one. Okay, next one is Bed Bath and Beyond. So for Bed Bath and Beyond, we start again with the bullish tracking. Again, I'm leaning more to the bearish one, but let's look. Okay, for the bull version, we already in the last run, in my opinion. So in the next run. So this here is 2020. You did your V, your high, low, A, B, C, lower high, fall to a midpoint. You already did your T. You already did your perfect V and A, and you already did your A peak and your A pullback. For price targets, again, A is already in at $12. Your B peak, your B price target would be $36-ish, a little bit over it, under it, or on the line. Then your pullback would be $22. And then the only question is breaking C or rejecting C. For confirmation, everything over $12 is absolutely bullish. For making this wrong, everything under 789 again is bearish. For the bearish alternative, this would be this. It wouldn't change anything except one thing, and that is that our A peak wasn't A peak, it was our T peak, and I'm really leaning more to this. Even with the bounce, this would mean this was a T peak. You will break the $7-ish again and make a new low or a higher low to 2020. Then the same V and A, higher low, and the price targets are still the same. A stays at $12, B stays at $37. And again, no financial advice. If we're doing this, this is not the end. This here would be again the perfect buy-in. Why I'm tending more to this is just because if you look at it, you come from your M, you come up again to an M or W pattern. The right side is higher and then your knife. It's the same like you're coming from your M in 2020. You're coming from your M, come up again. And you can see that on the daily better. Yeah. Come from your M. You come up again to your M or W pattern. The right side is higher and you knife. And I was always saying in the last week that I think we would be exactly in this candle here. Just because we got here the bounce and bounced 12%. And right now we're in the same M or W. We bounced here. And right now we're up 15-16%. It's kind of 1-to-1. But just saying, if we're really going up here and breaking 12.61, my bearish alternative is that. And this version is just wrong. And if that happens, okay. That's why we have confirmation levels. Okay. Next one is grab. Therefore, I also have only a bullish chart yet. So for the bullish chart for grab, this is your C peak. Then you're doing a lower high. Midpoint, which is not clearly where exactly it is because it's just a line, a really massive line. This is clearly your T. You did already your V. This whole thing would be a higher low. And we would already did I have done our A peak. We would be in the A pullback, and our next target would be B, around $10, 10.5 pullback. And then the only question is breaking C or rejecting C. So what have we done in the last weeks? So our A peak here is on the same time our big A peak, our middle B peak, and our little C peak. And with the C peak, of course, normally you have to do your BLNK, but because it's also your middle B peak, the middle B peak is stronger, so it should do a higher low. So I think, yeah, two ways here. The first one, we are already in the bounce. This was enough. We already did our breakout. I would imagine if we see downside, it would be just a breakout retest of this trend line here. And then you go up for confirmation, everything over 662. And our next target would be B peak. And for this, you would again take a fib from this line here to this line. And you would come up, reject somewhere in here, do your B pullback at $7-ish. Then you go to your C. If this is not finished yet, you still have to go, you will reject here, and it would still go down to your 0.5. Here you would pull back to your 0.5 at $5, bounce here, and do the same. What I don't want to see is my first line at 473, and what I absolutely don't want to see is a break of 431. Then I really have to do an alternative chart. Right now, I just don't see it yet. It looks bullish. Okay, next one is BLNK. And for BLNK, I also have no alternative chart right now. For the complete overview, here is your bullish chart. You're coming from your C, lower high, midpoint TV. First one is finished. And then you start your second one, which was already a lower peak. So for this company, it's very important to break this peak. If we are not breaking this peak in the future, you will do again a lower peak, and this would be the death spiral for this company. So for our price targets, for the big overview, for this we're still looking for a peak, which should be around 380-ish. Our next point would be our MB peak at $26. And then the only question is, are we breaking this peak, not all-time highs, this peak or not? So what have we done the last days, weeks? So we did our perfect V&A. We already did our higher low, and we already broke out of our trend line, which is also 4 years. So our last peak was our little B peak, and we would be in the B pullback. So again, two versions. The first one, we broke the 0.5 without lock, but we are still in range. And we would already be in the bounce right now. So for the bullish version, you are already in the breakout. The higher low, could the higher low be already in? Yeah, the higher low could be already in here. And you would just go up. Confirmation, everything over 280 is confirmation, and your A should be around 476. Why? Just because we have liquidity zones here. Your A could already be here at $6. Then you get a little A pullback, most likely a 0.5 from this one here, and you go to a B. For the alternative, the 0.5 without lock is wrong. This right now would be your T peak. The little V and higher low would be wrong, and you would still have to go to your 0.5 MIF lock, bounce here, and do the same. The levels are the same. You still have to break 282 and go to your A. What I don't want to see is anything under 147. And if we're breaking $1, again, I really to look for a bearish alternative chart. But right now, looks finished and bullish. Next one is AI, and I think I have an yeah. So first, again, the bullish version of AI. So for the overview, you came from your all-time high, you see lower high, midpoint TV, first one is finished. Then you did your second fractal with A, B, C, already finished with V and A. And here again, your next C point was a lower peak. So also for this company, it's very important to break $50. If you're rejecting $50, it's your second lower peak, and you will go into the death spiral. So what have we done in the past was you already did your C and came to your perfect B and A. Your next targets would be your A peak, which should be around $30, then 0.5 pullback, and your B peak would be at $36. Then again, 0.5 pullback, and then the only question is breaking $50 or not. Right now, we would come from our V&A, and in the little tracking, this would already be your higher low, and we would already have done our little A peak and would be in the A pullback. Two versions again. You could be finished with your A pullback. I don't think so, but if, okay, confirmation is everything over $20. You're doing your little B pullback, and then you go to your big A or small, and same time small C peak pullback, and so on. For the bullish version, I still think we have to come down to our 0.5, which is around 16, and then you do the same. What I don't want to see is anything under 16.15 and absolutely nothing under 15.23, because then our alternative bearish version comes in place, which isn't changing much, except that you still need a lower low. So for this, the T and the B price targets stay the same, but we would still need a drop somewhere in this range between $13 and $10. There you would do your V&A, your high, low, and then you go up again to your A and B. And in the last days, I looked more and more into this, and I'm really tending more to this just because of price movement comparison. Because if you look at this here, and then if you look at this here, it's quite really repeating, if true, 1-to-1. And in my opinion, you would be in this candle right now. This candle here would be somewhere in here, and you would still need this part here, this drop, and then you do. But again, if true, and no financial advice, this range here would be the perfect buy-in for what I'm doing most of the time, 6 months out calls for A, or in that range, also even shares. Okay. So next one is SAVA. So for SAVA, this is our little stupid 100% risk play. So bullish and bearish version. I didn't make the bearish version chart itself, but it's very easy to explain. So for the bullish version, I said we are looking for our gap fill and our A. Just for the overview again, here's your V, your A with pullback, your B with pullback, your all-time highs with C. You come lower high, midpoint T, gap massively down to your V and A. And right now, we are looking for the gap fill and our A peak at 36, pullback B, and so on. And all these gap fills, even back here, all these gap fills every time happened Friday pre-market or after hours or Monday pre-market. So we didn't got it last Monday and we didn't got it this Friday after hours and pre-market. So our next chance is tomorrow pre-market. If you're doing it tomorrow pre-market, we are finished, gap fill, perfect. If you're not doing it tomorrow pre-market, for the bullish version, I would still say the next week would look like this. This would be your little B peak. Your lower high is already in. Your middle point is already in. And you may be going side. No, you don't go sideways. You would have to do a lower low than this. Come up again. Drop to your 0.5 around 320. Bounce here. Making higher low. And then this will happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then you have a chance Friday pre-market again to do your bounce. You should already be in your bounce and your high-low and your gap fill. Or this bounce and high-low will be Friday and after hours and then Monday pre-market. If you see, in my opinion, a strong move, let's say Monday or somewhere in the week, and you see a strong move a strong move between $5 and $6, or let's say we're doing this here till Wednesday, Thursday, and on Friday you see the strong move to 5, 6. I would get worried, just because then the alt would be in play, and the alt would be you coming from AT, this price action here, this price action would have been our last 2 to 3 weeks, and we would be in this candle here right now. And if you look at this candle here right now, goes a little bit higher where the gap started. This here would be $5 to $6 ish. Same like if you go on the daily here, we are still under it, so we should at least, even for the bearish version, get our $5 to $6 ish and we check there. But after that, if you're doing the bearish version, we will do a new low. So it will fall here to $1 ish. And then we're doing this for the next 2 to 3 months. just boring uptrends. But I would be still convinced that we doing this gap fill then the latest March. But right now I'm still tending to that we are in this version right now, where you fall from your T, you fall from your T, you do your V, you did your V, you did your V, here's your higher low, here's your higher low, here you have your A peak, here you have your A peak, then you come up again, here would be your B peak, here's your B peak, then you're starting the same downtrending channel, and you bounce at a lower low. Same here, you bounce at a lower low, and in my opinion you would be somewhere in here. So still looks good, but this is a 100% risk play. Risk it or miss it. It's I would only put money in here. I don't care, because you can make a lot of profit of it, or you just lose it. Yeah, 100% risk play. Okay, next one is OCGN, and I don't have an alternative. So for OCGN, I only have a bullish chart yet. For the overview again, you're coming from your C, do your lower high, midpoint, T, fall to V, first one is finished. After that, your big A would also be already finished, and right now you would be in your big B, and after that it would come your big C. I say it again, our big C is at 177, and here I would close all my position, because in my opinion, somewhere in here, you will reject, you get your 0.5, and then you go to C. Or this is just a lower peak, and you will die. What have we done? So you came to your perfect V&A. This whole thing would be in the small tracking, your lower high, and in the middle tracking, your higher low, and you would be on the way to your middle A. For the little tracking, you just did your little B peak, and would be in the little B pullback. Again, two versions. The first one, the 0.5 without lock, was perfectly touched. You would already be in a bounce and would go to your C. Confirmation level would be everything over 190, and you go. If this line isn't true, you still have to come down to your 0.5 MIF lock, which is at 129, and then you do the same. What I don't want to see is breaking under 117. And if you break under 80 cents, yeah, I completely have to look for a bearish chart. But right now, it looks fantastic. Next one is GNS, and I didn't make a bearish chart now. For GNS, also looks perfect right now. So for the bull version, you're doing a C, lower high, midpoint, T. You already did your V, you already did your high low, and you already did your A peak. You are in the A pullback, and in my opinion, near the finish line right now. And your next target would be B at 87. So, two versions of this A pullback. The bullish version would be this here, where the green is right. This would be your A, which is a little bit too high for my taste. I'm leaning more to the red one. But for the bullish version, your A is already, this is your A, your V under A is finished, your high low is finished, you would be already in your breakout, you already did your little A, and this should be finished right now. Confirmation levels would be 90 cents, and then absolutely confirmation levels would be 127. You would bounce here and go up. For the alternative, this little peak was our T. The green one would be wrong. This A would be your perfect A, and I'm leaning more to this. You still would have to go down to your V and A, make a high low, and then you bounce. What I don't want to see is anything under 34 cents, because I think then this play is also dead. But let's look. But just a little warning, that's also a pretty risky play. But normally, if this thing is finished, you won't see this little ABCs. If this thing is finished, you will just see V high low go, V high low go, V high low go. This is not a small mover, but it's, for either way, it looks finished. So next one, FFAI, which is quite of the same, but FFAI looks better than GNS right now. For the overview, coming from a C, lower high, midpoint, T, V and A, finished, high, low, finished. If you're taking my rules 1-to-1, then T as T, same as A, would be 156. M point would be $4,000, and then whatever. But again, I'm saying that all the time. I'm again 99.999% sure you won't see this. Okay, if we're breaking this, then they will do a split. And then we can go up here, because a split isn't changing the fractal. But if you buy, for example, shares down here, you won't ever see your shares at $4,000. They will do a split 100-to-1 or something like that. You would be on the chart still here, but your shares would be only $440. Okay, so for realistic price targets right now, our A is around 446, our B is around 11, and in my opinion, if they are not doing a split, you will reject somewhere here in this range, make a lower peak again, and the ticker will just disappear, delist or be bought by someone else. Who cares? So what have we done in the last weeks? So this whole thing here would be our big higher low. We did our ABC. Here's our lower high, midpoint T, and we did our small V and A. And I said in the last days, the only important thing we have to do is holding this higher low. And we did. And I also draw this trend line, and we broke out of it. So this looks really good and really finished. For confirmation, which we may not get, I will show that later, is anything over 168 is absolutely bullish. What I don't want to see is anything under 128. And if we break, if we go down here, this V and A in this high low is wrong. And we still have to do a new V and A and a new high low, which has to be over 180. If you fall under 180, for me this play is over. Why I said we don't, I don't think we see that. It's the same like GNS. FFAI is always doing this. V, high, low, just go to C. V, high, low, just go to C in one candle. I mean, on lower time frames, let's say 1 minute, you still see the AB, but yeah. Same like here, V, high, low, go to C. This is also a very quick mover. And it looks like we are very near for the next run. Last one is bull, and here also I only have a bullish chart, but this thing looks absolutely fucking great too. You're coming from a C, lower high, midpoint T. Already did your V&A, did already your high low, and this whole thing since July would just be our A, big A, and the A pullback has to be finished right now. And the same like FFAI, the only thing we have to do is holding this high low. It's the only thing. And we have quite of the same trend line, and we also broke out of this trend line. So the only downside I could see is a breakout retest, but maybe not, and then you just go up. Confirmation levels for me is breaking $12, and the last one breaking $12.85. And this is absolutely bullish. If we going to 10.52 again, even if it's only a double bottom, this V&A and this high low is wrong. And then it gets critical because we are not allowed to break 10.26. So we still have a little bit left space here, but I really want to hold this high low. But if you're doing, it's absolutely great. And if you want to compare it to common bars patterns, in my opinion, this would be nothing else than a cup, handle, and you know what happens after that. But this will take at least till next year. But our next price target, because we already did our A, which is the T line, our next price target would be M, around $33. This thing looks absolutely great. Okay. So, if you liked it, please give me a like or a subscription, for example, because of YouTube. If you have questions, write it into the comments. If you have wishes which stocks we maybe should add to this list, write it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.